Chapter 360. The Rivalry of the Descendants. Kang Xia took a deep look at the Fendu mountain range, and then instantly moved towards the imperial capital. Harmonization stage. Little Gold would definitely step into the harmonization stage within 100 years. Humph! Little Jing was filled with battle intent as he tore through the void and caught up with Kang Xia. And in the dark Fendu Valley, a black coffin slowly revealed an old face. If Kang Xia was here, he would have recognized that this person was none other than Imjiao, his master. That mysterious old man from the corpse-catching sect. Kang Chon's dominating blood, a single lineage, the heavenly Dao sect. ... Hey, you are digging your own graves. The old man opened a pair of deep eyes, a hint of cunning flashing through his gaze. Boom! The lid of the coffin was closed and the valley returned to calm. On a blood-colored altar within the corpse-catching sect, a blood coffin was silently placed there. Within the coffin lay a supremely gorgeous goddess. Her eyes were closed, and a blood-colored mark in the center of her eyebrows was emitting a faint glow. The goddess appeared incomparably peaceful. Her skin was as snowy and white, her beautiful eyelashes slightly fluttering, as if she was about to awaken at any moment. In the bloody altar's surroundings, similarly placed many sarcophagi. These sarcophagi have big and small, different, but within each sarcophagus, all exudes an eerie and terrifying atmosphere. Tens of thousands of sarcophagi stood silently, appearing incomparably bizarre, making the entire Fendu mountain range look more like a large tomb. The majestic imperial capital was still infinitely prosperous, with an endless stream of cultivators on the streets. Kang Xia and Zijing quietly walked on the spacious streets, a faint layer of light shrouding their faces, causing those who passed by them to not be able to see their appearance clearly. This time, they came back in a very low-profile manner, not drawing anyone's attention, even Qian San Xiao. They did not inform. Brother, the imperial capital is still the same. There's nothing to see. Let's go straight back to the royal mansion. Zijin looked around for a while and faintly shook his head. After experiencing the brutal killings in the orthodox battlefield, his eyesight had become very high at this moment. Looking at the Foundation establishment stage and Jidan stage cultivators passing by around him, he felt that it was very boring without any sense of immersion. Kang Xia also felt this way. This was probably because of his increased strength. As he looked at those ordinary people, it was as if he seemed to be in a different world. Let's go. Kang Xia shook his head. Just at this moment, a robust horse galloped from afar, and on the horse's back, a middle-aged man shouted loudly, "Little Bully King Wu Knife and Gun King Li Tieli will fight in the battle martial field." ... Double quotes. The middle-aged man's words were like a hurricane, instantly spreading through the streets and alleys. What? Little Bully King is going to duel with Gun King? This is the pinnacle battle of the young generation of the Great Tang. We mustn't miss it. South Heegman, North Gun King. These two top geniuses of the Great Tang Kingdom are finally going to split up. This is a historic moment. I heard that the State Lord is personally presiding over the battle, and some of the top powerhouses of the Great Tang Kingdom, such as Qian San Xiao, Zhenin King, Heavy Iron King, Li Yuanba, Wu Gang, and so on, have all come to watch the battle. Quickly go to the martial arts arena, or else we won't be able to squeeze in when there are more people. A few moments after the middle-aged man left, the whole street was boiling, and one cultivator after another rushed up to the sky, heading in the direction of the fighting arena. *******. Those cultivators who hadn't reached the Jidan stage, on the other hand, quickly ran one by one, all aiming in the direction of the fighting stadium. Kang Xia and Zijin watched this scene of chickens flying and dogs jumping from afar, and couldn't help but look shocked. "Little bastard, haha, brother. I didn't realize that you have a successor to your overlord name, that Wu Knife. .. Double quotes. Zijin laughed out loud. but his laughter immediately froze as he froze and said, "Hey, that Wu knife wouldn't be Wu Gang's son, right?" Thinking of the last time he returned to the Great Tang country and saw the little boy Wu Gang was holding in his hands, Zijin's eyes suddenly lit up. It's possible. More than 10 years have passed. With that boy's talent, it's not impossible for him to become the top genius of the current Great Tang country. Little Gold suddenly said excitedly. Then what are we waiting for? Go and take a look. Kang Chia laughed. He was also a little curious. More than 10 years had passed. He didn't know what level the named disciple he had taken in had grown to nowadays. As a natural blade body, Kang Chia was still very confident in Wu Dagger's talent, and he was curious to know what point Wu Dagger had reached nowadays. According to the time projection, Wu Dao should also be almost 20 years old now. In the Imperial Capital Martial Arts Arena, there was a sea of people and a lot of hustle and bustle. Kang Tia and Zijin directly came by instantaneous transfer, and then hid amongst the crowd, ready to watch the upcoming battle. The entire martial arts arena was very lively, and there were a lot of people watching the battle. Apart from the cultivators of the Imperial Capital, cultivators from other cities in the Great Tang country had also come to watch the battle. The large martial arts arena was overcrowded at the moment, and as far as one could see, there was a huge black mass. On a high platform on the east side of the martial arts arena, there were dozens of great figures from the Great Tang Kingdom sitting on the stage. Kang Chan's grandfather Wang Tiexiong was clearly among them. Qian San Xiao, the head of the Qian family, the king of Zhenan, and other people Kang Chia was familiar with, were also here to watch the battle. Zhenan King, I didn't expect that even you personally came to watch the battle between the two little guys. The Qian family head laughed. Today's Zhenan King was different from the past. 5 years ago, Zhenan King had already relied on the antidote sent by his son, Lei Yun, to recover the dark injuries in his body and break through to the outblood stage. An out-of-body stage powerhouse was a top-notch existence in the Great Tang Kingdom, so it was no wonder that the Qian family head was surprised. Hehe. King Zhenan smiled faintly as he heard this. He looked at Qian San Xiao and Wu Gang on the side and shook his head lightly. Don't underestimate these two little guys, Li Tiadi. Needless to say, that's the Li family's top genius of the current generation. He's been under Li Yuanba's key cultivation since he was a child, and he can be considered as the number one of the young generation of the imperial capital. There is also Wu Knife. Don't think that this king doesn't know that Wu Knife is a registered disciple of the Overlord. Being able to be valued by the Overlord, his qualifications can be imagined. Over the years, he has also been taught severely by San Xiao and Wu Gang, so he must not be much worse than the hegemony king back then. Or else, how could he be called the little hegemony king? Their strength is still poor now, but in 10 or 20 years, I'm afraid that they will surpass us. King Zhenan is too kind, Wu Gang said with a faint smile. But he was very happy in his heart. Back then, he was unable to be the number one person in the Great Tang Kingdom. But now, his son was about to do it, which undoubtedly helped him fulfill his wish. Qian San Xiao on the side saw Wu Gang's expression and skimmed his lips. You could just steal your joy. The matter of Wu Dao being accepted by Kang Tia as a registered disciple, Qian San Xiao and Wang Taishong had known about it for a long time. They had been mixing together a lot over the years, and had long since become very familiar with it. If you have the ability, you can also give birth to such an outstanding son. Wu Gang was full of smugness. Qian San Xiao froze at his words. Then he was resentful, unable to speak. Ha ha ... double quotes Wang Tiexiong, King Zhenan, and the others could not help but laugh. In fact, Qian San Xiao got married 7 years ago, but unfortunately, even after 7 years of hard work, he only had a daughter and no son, which made him very disappointed. It wasn't that he favored sons over daughters, But for a big family like the Qian family, it was not possible to have no descendants to pass on. His old man had recently forced him to take a concubine, but Chen Sanxiao didn't agree. This guy was devoted. "Look, the knife is out," Wang Tiexiong suddenly exclaimed, instantly drawing the attention of the crowd. Only to see a purple-clothed youth walking with his head held high on the martial arts arena. His eyes were like stars. His black hair was like ink. He was carrying a long black sword. His whole body exuded a wild and domineering aura. "What a likeness!" Wang Tiexiong murmured softly, looking at this purple-clad youth on the martial arts arena. A purple figure flashed through his mind. "It's been 10 years, Tiana, are you all right?" Wang Tiexiong looked at the young and vigorous Wu Dagger below. It was as if he had seen Kangtia at the time, the same domineering, the same wildness. It was no wonder that he was known as the little bully. For Wu Dagger, Wang Tiexiong was very fond of him, especially knowing that he was Kang Chon's registered disciple. He almost treated Wu Dagger like a grandson. There is really some resemblance with Kang Chon's brother, right, Wu Kong? I remember when you lost to Kang Chia. He was also dressed like this, right? How about it? Does it remind you of the good memories back then? Chen Sanxiao suddenly looked at Wu Gang playfully, thinking, "Kid, now I have my revenge, haha." Wu Gang sniffed with an annoyed face, skimmed his mouth, and ignored Chen Sanxiao. The other people on the side laughed out loud. Especially Heio Jushi from Fengdu City laughed. "Isn't that so? When we were at the Fengdu Martial Arts Arena, the Overlord was dressed like this. I remember. Senior Heio. How many years ago was this?" Wu Gang interrupted Heio Jushi with a dissatisfied face. He didn't want everyone else to know about his glorious deeds back then. That wasn't something worth proclaiming. "Haha, good, good. I won't say anything else." Heio Jushi smiled and said, "Alas, speaking of which, Overlord hasn't returned for a long time. I wonder how he's doing in the cultivation world," Zhenin King asked. "He now can be famous. The whole cultivation world, no one knows, even that little monkey beside him. In our out-of-body stage great circle powerhouse, in the battlefield of righteousness, and devil hard to have an enemy." Chen Sanxiao laughed. 10 years had passed. Chen Sanxiao and Wu Gang had also been promoted to the exhumation stage. But compared to Kangtia and Zijin, their strength was far worse. That brat Li Tiadi is here, and Li Yuanba, TSK. The Li family is here with their entire family this time. Suddenly, Chen Sanxiao's gaze looked towards the sky above the martial arts arena. A group of cultivators came in great numbers, dozens of them. Leading the group was the arrogant Li Yuanba, but he did have the strength to be proud of himself nowadays. He already had the invincible strength of the out-of-body stage, and his fighting strength was a bit stronger than the Great Tang Kingdom's lord, and he could be called the strongest person in the Great Tang Kingdom. Beside Li Yuanba, there stood a young man who was as arrogant as him. He held an overlord spear, his gaze unruly and untamed as he scanned the crowd below. When he saw Wu Dagger, a trace of grim killing intent surfaced in his eyes. Seeing that the protagonists had arrived, the entire martial arts arena instantly boiled up. Countless shouts, like a tsunami, surged, drowning the entire arena. A group of people from the Li family, led by Li Yuanba, sat down on the high platform opposite Chen Sanxiao and the others. "Xie Qi, what's the point of coming with so many people, thinking that it's a group fight?" Chen Sanxiao said disdainfully. At this moment, the cheers were continuous, until the Great Tang country's lord stood up. The clamor was only reduced a little. Silence. A loud and cold cry came out from the state lord's mouth, resounding throughout the entire martial arts arena. And immediately those countless spectators quieted down, everyone looking towards the state lord. The state lord's face was bland. His majestic gaze swept over everyone. His loud voice resounded in the fighting arena. "Gentlemen, This battle today isn't about the title of the strongest person in the young generation of the Great Tang country. One is the little bully Wu Blade who swept through the southern youth generation, and the other is the Gung King Li Tieli who swept through the northern wind youth generation. Who exactly they are the strongest of the Great Tang country's youth generation will be revealed today. Everyone was very excited and thrilled at the words. The State Lord continued, "This battle is meant to be a sparring match. Do not injure anyone's life. The rules of the battle are very simple. One side admits defeat, or one side loses their fighting power as defeat. Now, I announce ... The start of the competition." The State Lord's loud shout catalyzed the atmosphere to the peak.